So I had this video ready to go, had my facts straight, did my numbers, and then I see in the patch note that Liar and Lay's coming out. Fennel! Well, luckily my green screen was messed up, so I gotta redo the recording anyways. What up guys, Dan Does Games back in GCD Global today, and I'll be covering how to get the top damage in Dimensional Boss. Dimensional Boss is a guild activity where members summon bosses and work together to kill them and loot their rewards. Summon cards are obtained from doing expeditions, and you are rewarded with Evo stones for summoning bosses for your guild. Gold is given out based on the amount of damage that you do, and when the boss is killed, guild medals and gear is awarded based on your rank and damage. Also, accessories are given after achieving specific damage goals. Now, Evo stones are limited based on the first 5 bosses you summon for the day, although you can summon more, and gold is limited per day based on your profile level. However, gear, medals, and accessories have no daily limit, and since this is the primary way to get accessories in the game, it is advantageous to run this as often as possible. The key then to maximizing your rewards will be to maximize your damage. Achieving top DPS will increase the rate at which you get accessories, as well as put you at the top of the board for loot and medals. So let's talk about the top characters for Dimensional Boss out in GCDC Global right now. Let's start with the one everyone talks about, Charon. Charon is a unique character since his skills and basic attacks will add a poison-like status that deals damage based on the boss's max HP. This makes him incredibly useful for Dimensional Boss, however also incredibly niche to it. He has no real use in PvE or PvP other than Dimensional Boss and some raid bosses. If your resources are a bit limited, you might want to focus on some more versatile heroes before leveling him. I actually had one fully awakened, but chose to transfuse him into a Radiant Shiny to awaken Rufus instead. But step off, Charon. Your time on the podium is done because the true queen of Dimensional Boss is arriving with the new year. Liar is an archer making her appearance on January 1st, and she sports one of the highest boss DPSs in the game. Her skills and attack leave stacks on the target. Once 5 stacks are attained, she will hit the target for up to 12% of their HP, along with boosting her attack. Unfortunately, however, like Charon, she will be mostly suited for Dimensional Boss, raid bosses, and not much else, although she greatly excels at it. The other big contender is Lay. Lay is a mage coming out at the same time as Liar, however she just supports incredible all-around DPS. Her 2 skills are both summons that by themselves have nasty damage, but on top of that will increase her powers when both are summoned at the same time. Alright, moving on to what we have. Last, I've mentioned him in every video so far, so you should know he's good by now. High DPS, crit chance buff to the team. Ellis, she will boost the team's attack speed and damage with her skills and ultimate. Attack speed increases DPS, SP gain, debuff accumulation. Basically, she pairs well with everyone's abilities. However, her personal damage is relatively low. Olivia, she'll increase the damage received and damage dealt by the boss. Although other heroes will outclass her in damage and buffs, she does give weaker teams more survivability for a cost in damage. Also, you can get this buff with her basic attack and save your SP for other heroes. Rufus, he has a debuff that increases damage received by a whopping 50%. Not only that, but he's also a major damage dealer himself. Amy and Sage, both are pretty similar in that they increase SP gain with their first skill and passive attack. Sage is more efficient at SP gain, however Amy has a really good ultimate for burst damage spam. She also has 2 heal skills, whereas Sage only has 1. Sachi is another useful healer for her passive revive. If you like to auto skill these fights and walk away, she may be helpful in making sure your team stays alive. And that's pretty much it for top DPS and Dimensional Boss right now. Of course, if you're watching this from the future or you're from one of the non-global servers, there may be heroes that I haven't mentioned that will be good for Dimensional Boss, but here I'm only covering units that are available to GCDC Global around the time posted. So here's what I'm proposing to be the top DPS build in the game starting 2019. Lay, Liar, Rufus, and Amy. Lay and Liar are the main DPS with their crazy damage skills, and Rufus will mainly be increasing damage through debuffs, although his damage is pretty high as well. Amy will be acting as my SP factory and helping with burst damage when using her ultimate. For more survivability, you can swap out Rufus with Olivia or a tank like Ryan, although this will hurt your DPS. And of course you can swap Amy with another DPS unit if survivability is not an issue. Originally my team was Last, Rufus, Charon, and Amy. Their DPS was good at the time, pushing 6 to 8 million on each boss, but with the release of the 2 new heroes, the meta for Dimensional Boss will change drastically. And of course, the most powerful tool for DPS is the additional entry button that lets you have additional time with the boss for gems. I don't really recommend it, but if you have to have the top DPS, I guess there's that. Lastly, a quick overview of the 4 bosses available right now. Gorgos, his attacks are a swipe from the left or a swipe from the right, falling rocks, and a flame breath attack. Wendy, he has an ice breath attack that slows, he does a jump going into a stomp, and he summons suicide bombers. Troll, he has a slow charge attack, he summons crystals that I'm actually not sure what buff they give, but they at least stun them if you break them. And lastly, Garrison. Garrison will currently be the biggest problem for you since he has a number of very high damage attacks. He has Army's Meteor ability. He summons 3 after images that do damage in 3 or 4 of the lanes, then follow him around. And he always teleports to the back of your formation, targeting squishier units. I mean, all the bosses have very telegraph attacks that aren't hard to dodge, but if you're trying to be lazy like me and just auto-skill it, Garrison is going to be the most troublesome for that. I mean, half the time I'm writing these scripts, I'm doing Dimensional Boss off to the side at the same time. And of course, you could go in, do next to nothing damage, and you'll still get some reward at the end of it when your guildmates kill the boss. But that's called being a leech. Don't be a leech. Steve, do your part. One last thing, there is a new activity called Guild Boss coming out with the new patch as well. It looks like it will be the same as Dimensional Boss, but with a tighter time restriction of 4 hours. The strategies from this guy will most likely apply to that guild activity as well. Alright, that does it for this video. Hopefully this helps you out on your quest to slaying bosses. If you dig what I do, throw me a like and subscribe for more content. Next time I'm back, I'm going to be doing summons for Lay and Liar, and I'll do a review and guide for both shortly after. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next year. Peace. I hate it when people do that. I'm December 31st. See you next year. It's the New Year's, Dave. You do this every year. I get it. Let it go, bro.